That I suffered social anxiety, and you would have obviously known that I help and teach other people on my 6 weeks program, on my YouTube videos, in my members area, through my newsletters. I help other people overcome social anxiety and build social confidence. Aside of that, I also help people with improving all areas of their life, all aspects of their life, because I found for myself, once I got myself more socially confident, I was able to be more confident in my life. So in this video I'm going to speak about how to love yourself. Now we hear this all the time. There's so many videos, there's so many phrases about just love yourself. From experience, someone that struggled to love himself, I don't think it's that easy. I wish it was, I could be wrong, but I don't think you can just meditate on love myself and then it just happens overnight. Although you can meditate and progressively build that relationship. So I want to tell you a really direct way to begin with that helped me to start loving myself, because it was really difficult for me, guys. I had lots of self-hate, I had lots of distrust, I had lots of shame and embarrassment, all the negative emotions that was a result of my childhood trauma, which basically caused my social anxiety with people and made me nervous. Now this just came to me today. So I didn't know I was going to do this video, and I thought, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's why I feel good today. That's why I'm happy. That's how I got here. What was the cause that made me unhappy? So I don't know what age you are watching this video. I don't know what gender you are. It doesn't really matter if you're man or woman. If you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, 60s, it makes no difference. For many years of my life growing up, I wasn't living an honest life. I wasn't being honest to myself, and I wasn't being honest in my actions. Now I can't be too hard on myself, and if you're watching this video now and you're going to say, flipping hell, this is me, I'm making these mistakes, don't be too hard on yourself, but just to be aware of it is the first step to change it. Now I'm going to give you an example. Growing up, I was always weird in a way, I was always different, and I think my social anxiety really derived from that. It was that feeling that I don't want to be terrified of being judged by people. Didn't want to be judged by my dad. That was one of the main people that affected me in my shyness and my lack of confidence and my low self-esteem and just an awkwardness when I was speaking to people. I didn't want to let my friends down. I think most of all, I didn't want to let society down. The social conditioning is so powerful. Still now, I still suffer that. I still want to be liked by people. There's still a bit of me that is afraid that I'll be judged or people won't like me. But anyway, it's much better these days. But back then, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I was so frightened to have my opinion. I was so afraid to go onto a video blog and say, no, well, this is what I think. This is my message. This is who I am. And I don't agree with what the majority of people say, or sometimes I do agree. I was afraid to have my own opinion. And this may sound like something really small, but that one little error, that one fear affects every area of your life. Because if you're afraid to have your own opinion, that means you're afraid to attract the girl that you want. That means that you're possibly afraid to make money, you're afraid to do the job you want to do, you're afraid to have better relationships. So one of the areas where I was selling myself short was my habits, my discipline. So I didn't enjoy nightclubs. Never really enjoyed nightclubs, never enjoyed drinking alcohol, never enjoyed loud, aggressive, violent environments. I'm not saying all nightclubs are violent, but from my own perspective, they seem to be violent to me. And when I was in those environments, it made me violent. As Eckhart Tolle said, it triggered off my pain body. And my pain body was really my social phobia. It was a part of me that felt angry, jealous, confused, abandoned by society, abandoned by my family, abandoned by everyone, abandoned by women. So when I went into these environments, it triggered that, and I became angry, and a lot of the times I got into fights. Not because I wanted to fight, I hated fighting, I was a nice person, but because I was in environments where my negative emotions got triggered, and as Tolle says again, it seemed to trigger other people's pain bodies, and I got into a fight, and I'd end up thinking, why did I go to this nightclub? Excuse me for a second, I just need a bit of energy. So I'd end up going to these nightclubs, come home and think, inside, the true self, the authentic self, your emotions, your intuition would feel Johnny, you let us down today. You fucked around again, you let us down. We didn't want to go there, you forced us to go to the nightclub. You knew this was going to happen. So, for a week later, I hate myself. I hate myself because I wasn't honest enough, or my character wasn't strong enough to say to my friends, look, I love you guys, but I'm not going to join you. And if they said, well, how comes? Why not? Don't be boring. Well, I'm going to be boring, guys. Have a good time. I don't want to go. It's not right for me. I'm not going to stop you guys going. Have a great time. I should have came home and actually did what I wanted to do. Now, let me just jog my memory back. Guess what I wanted to do? I wanted to be boring. I wanted to do, most of the things that society doesn't approve of. So that's just one example of how I didn't love myself, right? So obviously, how do you love yourself? You do the opposite. You be weird, you be different. You risk getting judged. Sometimes we have to get judged by friends and family to be ourselves. Sometimes being ourselves does not mean following the crowd. Most times it doesn't. So that was one of the areas. I'm going to share something with you. Oh, this is really personal. I've never shared this with anyone, only of my own thoughts. And this is not an attack on women, because I absolutely love women. Of course, my mum's a woman. If it wasn't for women, I wouldn't have overcome my social anxiety. But I wasn't attracted to a stereotypical archetype of a woman. Let me explain what I mean by that. Our society tells men that we have to be attracted to catwalk models. I wasn't attracted to that type of woman. I could appreciate and go, yeah, she's physically absolutely beautiful. She's slim. She's got beautiful features. But that doesn't do it for me. That's not what I want. That's not what I want as my girlfriend. That's not what I feel as my wife. I'm not just going by her looks. I'm just intuitively, it doesn't feel right. But for many years, I abandoned my true self and I went to nightclubs and I tried to attract these women, and of course they turned me down because I was in a different vibrational frequency. They could feel that something's not right with this guy. And, not to mention I was a very shy, socially anxious man. So I understand that they're probably going to choose a confident man over me who was in that same frequency, but I didn't like those type of women. And even that, when I say that, I don't want to be judgmental, because that's a human being, but I wasn't interested. Do you know what kind of women I liked? I'm not even sure. That's how weird I am. I like women that were attractive in my own standards. Do you understand? But the women I actually started to date, they weren't models, but they were very attractive. Now, society probably wouldn't have them on a magazine, but I don't care about what society is telling me, because when I usually follow society, I don't feel good. I feel massive fear, massive anxiety. So I'm not saying I'm not interested in attractive women, because I love beauty, I'm a man, but not that stereotype. I didn't like that type of woman, because I prefer women that are more, I think it's called plain Janes. I like the girl next door. I like curvy women. I like a woman with a bit of meat. I like a woman with a bit of meat on her ass. That's the truth. My mum is actually really slight. My mum's in good shape, but I didn't like that. And I found myself going for that. It's like Tolly said, because I was asleep. I was conditioned by narrative. But that narrative, that conditioning, it didn't go with my intuitive self. And that's the true self. The true self is the authentic self. They say it's the soul, it's the watcher. It's the intuitive feeling. We have an intuition. When we meet someone, we usually know if we're going to get along with a person, depending on where we're at with our social skills. But we usually know that. We can tell sometimes, all right, this person, nothing personal, we're just not going to get along. That we're probably not going to have dinner together, and that's fine. You can't get along with everyone. So that was another example, right? What other examples are there? Fighting. I wasn't an aggressive person. That wasn't my true self. But to fit into a narrative that I don't even think men per se created this, but it's a narrative given to men, especially growing up in a working class background. It was very cool to be aggressive. It was very cool to intimidate other people and say, yeah, see that guy, he was scared of me. Yeah, I'm a tough man. But it's like, no, you're not a tough man. You're not a tough man. You're actually really insecure, because you have to make people scared with violence to make yourself feel better. That's not tough. That's spiritually very weak. You've got no character. And I actually did that. So I started to bully people for a long time, because I tried to fit into a narrative. I wanted to impress my friends. I don't even know who I tried to impress, because back then some of my actual friends were afraid of me. It's not a nice place to be at. You're not respected, and there's actually no self-love whatsoever. There's no happiness. So when I started to eventually question my motives and think, right, I'm going out to nightclubs, I'm drinking alcohol, I'm getting into fights, I'm chasing women that I'm not attracted to, I'm not happy. How can I be? All my motives are not coming from what I truly want to do. So again, there's an abandonment of self. Of course there's going to be a social anxiety. Of course there's going to be a massive fear, because I'm not living from my true intentions. I'm doing things that I don't really want to do to impress other people and to fulfill a narrative from a society that's given me this narrative, and it doesn't feel right for me. So I start to question my motives, and I think, right, how can I replace these addictive personalities that are leading me astray? Well, for a start, stop going to nightclubs. That's when I started to go out into the daytime and meet women. And that actually felt a lot more like me. It felt, because it was weird, and I'm weird, and I like being weird. It was weird to walk up down the street in parks looking to speak to women. But I enjoyed it because it was weird and I was being true to me at that time. And I actually got to meet a lot of women. I actually got to meet and date a lot of women that I liked, that I found attractive. And I didn't need to go and look on magazines or do online dating and go to nightclubs. And okay, not every woman I found was for me. And I didn't mind if I got turned down, because I didn't really care. Because it didn't feel like being turned down, because in the process of going out and speaking to people, men as well, I didn't need anyone. I just was with myself. Sometimes I'd go with a friend, and that became a teaching. Then I started to teach men how to go out, but I'm just sidetracking there. But I started to realise when I overcome my social anxiety about 2 years ago, my whole life was spent trying to please other people. Now, obviously everything to an extreme, it's nice to make people happy. I'm not saying go around and you try and fuck up everyone's day and not please them, but I'm just saying we need a balance, and I had no balance. I was a people pleaser, I was violent, I was easily led, I had no intelligence, I was spiritually asleep, and I was just doing things, I don't even know why I was doing it. And in psychology they were saying, acting from unconscious. The unconscious mind, it's not fully to the conscious mind, but the intuitive self unconsciously says, that's why people say something doesn't feel right. And it didn't feel right. And you know when you're being true to yourself, because it's like an internal puzzle, it feels right. And that's when we start being happy. That's why I love doing these videos, I love teaching, because it feels 100% right. It doesn't feel fake, it doesn't feel that I'm trying to impress people. I just love it, that's why I do it. And what I like about doing the work I do, it doesn't please everyone. Although in my work, I want my goal and my purpose is to help as many people as I can with social anxiety to become confident. And I'm not just speaking about being confident with people, that is one of the areas. I'm talking about being confident with who they are in life. So it took me a long time to find my purpose and to enjoy what I did. And when I found what I actually enjoyed doing, of course, after that, I got paid for it, so money came. And I also got to change people's lives, which made me so much happiness. And I got to enjoy myself. That is a practice of self-love, and that becomes spiritual. So, and I see this with so many men, lots of men I work with. They're doing things that they don't want to do out of fear. They're doing it because they feel they have to do it because their friends are going to judge them. But then you say to yourself, what kind of friends do you have? What kind of friends do you have if you can't be yourself around your friends? If your friends don't accept you, that means you've got the wrong friends. And that was the same with me. I was around the wrong people because I attracted that through not putting out my true self. And it was interesting because, and I hope women don't mind this, I'm just telling the truth, because I had a lot of hate and anger. I'm sure you can imagine if you're a woman. I work with women as well that have got social anxiety. When you're suffering with social anxiety, it's not a laughing matter. It's not just a bit of shyness of people. You are furious towards people because part of you hates yourself, and you don't really hate people. It's just a damaged part of your psyche. I didn't like anyone when I had social anxiety, not fully, because I couldn't trust anyone, because I didn't like myself. So I couldn't give this love out when I didn't have it for myself. So it created a lot of depression, a lot of shame and guilt. So for a long time I didn't like women. I started to like women when obviously they started to like me. I thought, actually they do like me. I'm not an ugly guy, I'm not a bad guy. There's nothing wrong with me, although I am a bit strange. So I realised as women started to like me, it's because I was working on myself. And then I realised, actually, it's not women's fault. I don't need to blame women. It's not society's fault. It's not the models' fault. It's not the magazines. But that is one of the causes. I just have to take responsibility for myself, have the discipline to be aware of what is not true for me and what is true for me. And then I remember growing up, this is another one of my truths, obviously because I'm mostly English and I've Irish descent, I've got a lot of Irish in me. I remember really struggling with English women and just thinking, fucking hell, my own women don't like me. I go to nightclubs, they turn me down. I can't seem to attract them. And at the time, my thinking wasn't as broad as it is now. I didn't have a big social circle. I remember thinking, well, foreign women are not going to like me. They're not going to like an English guy who's pale and slim, or other women. But that actually wasn't true. Again, that was another narrative that I heard from a story, or someone had said it, or maybe it was in the media. It was somewhere this was sub-communicated to me, because it wasn't my true self. I wasn't born thinking foreign women don't like me, English women don't like me. So this is conditioning. So the goal to start loving yourself with social anxiety, it means challenging the conditioning that's not right from you and reconditioning yourself with the beliefs that you actually want to live by. When I challenged the conditioning what was gave to me, I realised actually I can get within reason any woman from any background. Any woman from any background, English, Spanish, African, Arabic, German, French, and guess what? After years of self-hate, self-sabotaging depression, and I hope you don't think I'm showing off, because I'm not showing off, I'm telling the truth. I dated women from all around the world, from London, from central London, or from different parts of London, because I learned how to go out and to speak to women and attract them sober by speaking to them. And that blew my mind. That made me realise that, God, if I can do this, which was one of the most difficult things for a shy man, what else can I not do? But to challenge these opposing, I was going to say laws, so they're not laws, but they feel like laws. To challenge society takes a lot of courage. Because sometimes to do that, we have to lose friends. We have to lose lots of parts of ourselves that we're scared to get rid of. Because we hang on to these parts because they give us some joy, but they don't make us happy. So my relationship with the way I thought about women changed. My relationship with people changed. Started to love women more. Started to love people more. Of course, started to love myself. My character started to get stronger. My personal boundaries got stronger. My discipline. My zest for life. My love for life. Then, of course, I wanted to help other people. I got really good at that. Before I started teaching, I had people say to me, people laughed at me. So I thought, right, they've laughed at me. They've made fun. They think I can't do it. I'll prove them wrong. And as you start proving people wrong, you start thinking, well, hang on a minute, I don't even need to prove them wrong. It's just a waste of energy. I just need to keep following what's in my heart and what I want to do. And eventually, you start doing that. So we start realising that the practice of self-love is not just sitting down meditating, going, I love myself, I love the universe. That is good. We have to practice it in our life. I was working with a student on my 6 weeks program we finished yesterday, and we went through this. I said to this guy, you came over, right? We were having a joke with him. I said, you came over, you wasted your time. You didn't need me. You came over for me to confirm that you already are socially confident. But you're lacking discipline in your life. One of the sticking points he had was discipline. I had the same thing. And the discipline came from an unconscious fear that you're not good enough and that you can't take responsibility for yourself. You need your mum, your dad, your girlfriend, or someone to take care of you, when in fact you can take care of yourself. And the interesting thing is, when you take care of yourself, everyone wants to give you a handout. Everyone wants to come to your party. So I told him this and he said, you're right. I've always lacked discipline. He goes, you're very disciplined, you're so hard working. I said, because I had what you had, and I went through what you're going through, the loneliness, the depression, the self-hate, the doubt, you don't even want to live. That's what I went through. I have to sometimes come to that. Eckhart Tolle says sometimes we have to get close to suicide before we reach enlightenment, before we have an awakening. And that's what happens to me. So after I spoke to this guy, completely changed. His whole perspective's changed now, because he has the proof, he has the psychological understanding that he's in control of his life. He doesn't have to rely on self-love outside. He can go inside. But to go inside, you have to go outside. You have to practice this. So you don't go to the nightclubs. If you like nightclubs and you enjoy drink and you like models, then do that. Then do that. Even when I used to go on dates with women, it took me a long time to develop the confidence and the character to say to a woman, look, I don't really want to go here with you. This is not me. Do you mind coming somewhere else? And usually the girl would say, yeah, sure. A woman obviously wants a man within reason that is confident in himself, that can lead and be honest with her. And that's the same. As a man, for me, I want the same in a woman. Obviously, I don't want her to be a man and to be hairy, but I want similar qualities. We usually attracted to people that are like us. They say opposites attract. Well, there's some truth in that, but I'm not so sure about that. I used to believe that. I think we're attracted to qualities in people that we see in ourselves, especially the good qualities. But obviously, if we don't like anything in ourselves, and we've got severe social anxiety at the early stages, we won't like anything in other people, so we have to work on ourselves. So I said to a girl one day, I'm going to be really honest with you, I don't want to take you to the bar and to the club and talk to you and talk rubbish and have to shout in your ear. Can I take you to the park? Can we go to the park so I can actually talk to you and enjoy your company? She goes, yeah, sure, that'd be nice. We had a great time. We had a great connection. And the date went even better because I actually went somewhere I actually wanted to go. I wasn't following the social narrative. I wasn't going to the bar to drink alcohol because everyone does it. I'm different and you're different. And the weirdness, the indifference makes you attractive. It makes you stand out. Most women are so used to men being the same. And sometimes for men, we have that. I've had that. No disrespect to women. I've had it when I've gone on a date and thought, oh, this girl's the same. She's the same as the last girl. She's attractive, yes, but she's boring. She just does the same as everyone else. She goes on Facebook. She's complaining about her friends. She's talking to me about the latest ringtone. I don't care about that. I want to get to know the person. I want to know what she likes. I want to know how she feels. I want to know how come she gets depressed sometimes. I want to know what she loves doing in life. I want to know, does she believe in love? Just silly things. I want to know about this person, not about the conditioning of her mind. That's not her. So it's all about reconditioning your mind. And I practice this every day and it's transformative. Then you can start doing meditation, spirituality, which I love to do, and I do that as well. So you can do this on a practical level. So I hope you enjoyed that. I wanted to get a message across. Massive self-love, massive self-appreciation. Then when you love yourself, you appreciate yourself, it's easy to transfer that and attract like-minded people. And if you're a woman watching this, exactly the same concepts apply to you. If you want to meet a certain type of man, you have to inhibit those qualities in you to attract a man of that nature that you want. And same for men. So this is for both sexes. It's not singling out. And the things I've said about women as well, I've had this with men. I don't date men, by the way. I'm not gay, I'm straight, but I love men. With male friends in the earlier days, I always used to attract violent men, violent friends, and I used to like them but think, I can't hang out with this guy, he's too angry, he's too negative, he wants to fight all the time. But that's because I was like that. So I kept attracting, when I changed that, it started to change. Started to attract nice, charming men like me with good hairstyles. I'm just joking. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want a practical guide and you want to practice discipline, how to speak to people, click the link below and check out my 30-day Berba anxiety program. That's a great practical guide. It shows you how to go out and speak to people in public. Once you can do that, you can move on to more of the spiritual aspects that I talk about, alignment, integral living, and all the other stuff. Enjoy the process. Thanks for listening and start loving yourself. Bye.